What is going on, everybody? My name is Frosty, aka the Apple Black and Rock, and welcome to another to another draft analysis video. This one is for the IPBL, which stands for the International Premier Battling League. This is a sister, I believe, a sister or spin-off league of the IBL, which is a league that Deebs is a part of, and a couple members of the ICBA. Even in this one, a couple members of the ICBA are actually in this league, or in the IPBL as well, including actually some of the people from the NPL as well. So this league I joined back in April, and I knew it was going to be a little while before they even got to the draft, as it is now mid-May when this is when the draft happened, and actually we just finished up yesterday. So with that, as you can see on the screen, we have a little bit of a name change. Not a full-on name change, but just kind of like an extra team. Just an extra team name that I wanted to play under this one. So with that, I decided to not play this league under the Golden State War Turtles banner, but I decided to use another team name, which is actually called the San Diego Padres. Now, this name is not a name that I came up with or anything like that. This was something that was thrown around in the ICBA chat, and I thought it was a funny name. And you know, people who do leagues, they sometimes have a second team. You know, A Drive was one of the biggest ones. You know, he has 3 different teams that he plays under: the St. Louis Rampardos, the Minnesota Vicavolts, and also the New York Metapods. So it's very common to see a team, see a person have 2 different team names or 3 different team names. But I just kind of wanted to play this one under the San Diego Padres, as I thought it was a funny name to begin with. So this league, while it is a league, and I am going to take it seriously, I just want to have a little bit more fun with this league than I do with the ICBA, as the ICBA I take very seriously. But this one, I just kind of want to have a lot of fun with it and try out a lot of different sets and just really kind of push myself creatively with this league. So with that, let's go over some of the rules. Rules wise, it is the same kind of draft format that you usually see. It's a GBA tiered style draft. You get 1 tier 1, 1 tier 2, 2 tier 3, a tier 4, a tier 5, and then most of the times you would get a mega. But unfortunately, they went with a vote, and they decided to ban megas until there were more megas released that are just as good. They felt that with the megas there was only, I think, like 15 or 18 megas that were viable for being megas, and somebody was going to get stuck with like Mega Glalie that might not want Mega Glalie. So they felt it was really kind of disadvantage for those who drafted at the bottom. So they decided that they're not going to do a mega. They're going to actually just ban all megas. So there is no megas in this league at all. But what they did do is they took that mega pick and they give you 100 extra points, and you now have 5 extra picks and 500 extra points to play with. So this also opened up a lot more in your free picks. So it allowed you to definitely get creative with that. So also with that, I'm trying to think. Swagger is banned. Speed passing is legal as long as you're not smash passing. Any other things? Certain mons were banned. Pheromosa banned, Magirna banned, Tapu Lele banned. I was actually fine with these because when you play them in leagues, they're very hard to play against, because they can decimate you either very quickly, or if they take out your counter to it, you don't really have a counter to it anymore. It becomes just a huge problem. I've never liked facing a Pheromosa in league before, and I don't like it, so I am actually happy with it. And Tapu Lele from first-hand experience is just a monster, and I know a lot of people don't like planning for it, so I am okay with them banning Tapu Lele as well. So with that, there were I don't think there were any more rules that I need to go over. You know what? There is one more. You get 2 Z captains. Most leagues either do 1 or 3. This one, they decided to go in the middle and go with 2. So you get 2 Z Captains, which are your Zmon holders, which are the only ones that can hold Z Crystals. I believe you can change it should you drop the Mon. You can change it, or you can relinquish the right to another Mon later on, but it cannot be done, from battle to battle. So I don't know. I think you can only do it once or twice. So I'd have to definitely check in with that to check that out. But tiering wise, the tiers were kind of all over the place, which was also nice because there was a lot of stuff that was in like tier 2 that I felt could have been in tier 1. Like Cresselia was tier 2, that easily could have been tier 1. Chansey could have been tier 1. Melodic could have been tier 3, but it's in tier 2. Toxapex, which is in tier 2, could have been tier 1. Volcarona, another one that could have been tier 1, it's tier 2. So there's a lot of stuff just kind of like with the tiers that's nice because it really gave a lot of freedom to get creative and build. So with that, we go to the picks. Now they randomized the draft order, and we actually get 3rd pick overall, which was nice because usually I either land in the middle or near the end. So it was nice to actually be at the forefront. And when we go into drafting, they started the draft, and I was like, okay, I picked 3rd overall. What Mon do I want to use? Which one do I really, really, really want to use? Okay, I want to use Jirachi. Yeah, I want to draft Jirachi. So my whole plan was to draft Jirachi first, and unfortunately, 1st overall went with Jirachi. So I was not able to draft Jirachi because it went 1st overall. So I'm kind of thinking back. I'm like, okay, well, hey, Kyurem Black might be fun to play with, and this and that. Maybe something else. And Kyurem Black goes 2nd. I'm like, okay, I can already tell that this is going to be Snipesville draft because I'm going to get sniped on pretty much anything I want. So my turn comes up, and I'm like, okay, what do I want? What do I really want to play with? What do I really like? Just thinking out there, which Mon do I really want on my team, guaranteed? And immediately I looked down the list, and as soon as I hit halfway down, I realized I saw it, and I was like, you know what? No, I want this Mon. This is the Mon I want, and I've been wanting to use it. I've been wanting to draft it. I wanted it in the ICBA. I didn't get it. And now I'm just like, no, I want it. I want it in this league. I'm gonna use my 1st pick to get it. It's always worth it. And so my 1st pick overall, 3rd overall, was Latias, aka Alexstrasza. If you don't know what the name Alexstrasza is, it's from World of Warcraft. It is since this is a red dragon, Alexstrasza in the World of Warcraft lore is queen of the red dragon flight, and actually queen of all the dragon flights. So I felt it was a fitting name for Latias. So with that, what do I get? I get a wall breaker. I get a defogger. I get a wish passer. I get a utility mon. I get a mon I can get creative with, and that's what I wanted. With something I can get creative with and something I can have fun, but also something that could wall break as well. So Latias is definitely a good mon. Base 110 speed, base 110 special attack, great move pools. As it gets a lot of stuff, including things like Healing Wish. It gets Stab Dragon Pulse. It gets Wish. It gets recover. It gets guaranteed recovery and recover. So it gets recover. I know it gets recover in here somewhere. I could have sworn. Yeah, it gets recovered. What else it gets? It gets Ice Beam. It gets Thunderbolt, Earthquake. I mean, the moves on this thing is ridiculous. So I get a great mon that has a great move pool, and it has a huge special defense stat, so which is really good for me. And 90 in the defenses is not bad either, but it was definitely a mon I wanted to use, and I wanted to draft it first because I was like, you know what, it will never last past the first round. If there's anything I know, it usually goes within the first round, or if not the first round, usually within the first few picks of round 2. So as it is, I want Latias, and I want to build my team with Latias. This also gives me a Levitate mon, which is nice because now I automatically get an Earth immunity. So with that, it's Snakes, and I have to wait a very long time because, you know, we're 3rd overall, so we have to wait 13 plus 13 more picks, so 26 picks to get back to us. And by this time, mons are going off the board, and they're getting off the board. Like Tapu Koko's gone, Victini's gone, Celesteela's gone, Lando T. I was kind of hoping to snag maybe Manaphy when it might drop to the 2nd round, but that got snagged up like a couple picks after mine. Clefable's gone, Sylveon's gone, Volcanion, Tornadus T. And just, you know, really good mons are gone and off the board. So it gets back to me, and I'm like, okay, well, what else do I want with my team? What do I need? I need a Rock Setter. Oh, okay. So let's look for a rock setter. We have a dragon, so let's look for a steel type, maybe a fairy type, and let's look for a rock setter. And I look at the board and I'm like, you know what? There's a mon I've been dying to use. I've been dying to use this mon. And I've been really, really, really wanting to use it. And you know what? I'm going to use this league to get a chance to use it. So with my second pick overall, I decided to pick up Excadrill, aka War Greymon. I've been dying to use Excadrill. I get a spinner, I get a wall breaker, I get a sand user. So as it is, I can immediately try to build a sand team if I want, because I'm immediately going to have the advantage with sand. So at this point in the draft, I don't know if I want to go with sand, because it's one of those things I'm still kind of iffy about, because I'm just iffy about bringing a sand user. But what do I get? I get a bulky 110 HP mon with 135 attack and decent speed with 88. So I mean, it is decent. Hold on one second. Close my window. Oh, sorry, it's cold and I got this window open in front of me. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I get a mon that's, it's just a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse and it's a fairy killer. What do you get? You get a Sand Rush mon that's faster than most things on the board. It gets you Stab Earthquake and Stab Iron Head. It's a great mon. Plus you get all these extra things like you get I get a Rapid Spinner. I get Magnet Rise. I get a Stealth Rocker. I get Poison Jab. I get Rock Tomb and Rock Slide and Egg Scissor and Shadow Claw, and I get all these really great move pool moves. Plus he's also got Magnet Rise, so he can make himself immune to Earth, or to ground. So I really like it. And with that, I felt this was a great fit for the team that I was starting to build. I was like, okay, I got Latios, which is immune to Earth, which covers his Earth weakness, plus he's weak to water and he's weak to fire. Well, Latios resists both of those. And common water spam is usually special, which she, because I always think that Latios is a he, but it's not, it's a she. She resists everything that this thing does. Fighting, resisted. Earth, immune. Fire, water, resisted. So they automatically cover each other's weaknesses. The only thing that Excadrill doesn't cover, that doesn't cover for Latios, is just dark. But I can get something for that later. It's not a big deal. But I get a very powerful mon, a decently fast mon, especially with Sand Rush, and I also get a Sand Force user. So if I get it in the sand, I get this thing a Scarf. I scarf it with Sand Force, set up the sand, and my Earthquakes are gonna run through things, and that's what I'm looking for, is something like that. So with that, it goes back down, and I only have to wait a couple picks to get back to mine. But my immediate thing was to try and get a fairy. I was like, look, I've got a dragon, I've got a steel, I want to finish out the score. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, what can I draft? I can't draft anything more in tier 1 because I'm thinking about getting another mon out of tier 1. Otherwise, I'd have to try to get something in a lower tier that I don't feel is as superior as the mon I'm looking at in tier 1. So I'm looking at tier 2 and one mon sticks out immediately. Florges. I want to get Florges because I feel it covers everything well. All the stuff that is weak to the other two, Florges eats. Florges eats Ice Beams, and it can eat Moon Blasts, and it can eat all of that. Unfortunately, Absol76, who was in the MPL actually, and we got to battle him last in the MPL. He went before me, and he got sniped on his mon that he wanted, which was Togekiss. So in preparing for that and replacing it, he took Florges, and I was like, oh, great. Like I said, it is Snipesville City in this draft. So I'm already like, great. I just lost my fairy type that I really wanted, and I have no other real good replacements other than maybe trying to go for what I thought Sylveon was on the board, but then I realized it was gone. I was like, oh, so it kind of sucked because I'm like, great, I lose Florges. I don't even get to get Togekiss either because Togekiss is gone. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I can get a fairy later. That's not a big deal. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, what do I need out of tier 2? And I see him on and I'm like, you know what? I've got a couple of options here. What do I look like? And I'm like, you know what? No, let's go with some power. Let's get some more power. Let's get some more strength for the team. And so with my third pick overall, I decided to pick a mon I hate playing against, but also a mon that gives me huge options for baton passing. So my third pick overall, I went with Scolipede, aka kill it now, kill it with fire. And so Scolipede, I hate playing for Scolipede because it can do so many stupid things, and you can't outspeed it either because it's speed boosted. That's one thing I also wanted, was a mon that could speed boost itself with one protect and outspeed an entire team. Great wall breaker. You can do the whole, if you bring it in on a fairy and they switch out, you can set up a sword stance and then get a speed boost and be faster than the whole team and then you're a +2 attack. And so, and 100 attack it's just amazing. It's a speed booster and wall breaker. You know what it does? It gives me bug stab, it gives me poison stab. So automatically I get 2 fairy killers right off the bat. Plus I get Latios as a great mesh to the team. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I have some power. I have power. And I really like Scolopy because I can speed past this into other things like Latios or into Excadrill or into other members of the team that maybe aren't as fast. And I really like having that option of being able to baton pass it to something else. What this also gives me a spikes user and a toxic spike user. If I remember correctly, Scolopy gets toxic spikes. I know it gets spikes via, it gets toxic spikes and spikes via egg moves. So, and then its move tutor moves are not bad either. It gets, Iron Tail, Superpower, gets access to Earthquake, which is great. Gets access to just really good move pool. So I was really happy with that, and really happy to be able to, at least if anything, have another hazard setter. So now I have a rock setter, I have spikes and toxic spikes, I have defoggers, spinners. I'm kind of building the team, and I've kind of got everything the way I want to go and the way that I want it to go. So with that, I have to wait. We wait for the 26 picks, and it comes back to me, and I'm looking at it going, you know what? I'm kind of getting a fire weakness and an ice weakness. So I need to get something that resists that. And so I'm looking at some water types, and I'm looking at getting my water type this round because they were starting to go off the board, and I didn't want to get stuck with a subpar water type. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, well, what can I get that would give me good water coverage? And unfortunately, I wanted to get Manaphy to go with the team, but unfortunately it went in the first round, so I wasn't able to get there. But I'm looking around, and I'm like, what can I get that can support this? What kind of water type can I get to support this? I could go with Rotom Wash. That gives me a second tier 2 pick. And I was like, no, I'm already using Rotom Wash, and I don't want to use it again in another league. So I look around, and I hit the bottom of the list, and I'm looking at tier 3, and I find this mon. I'm like, you know what? I want to use this one. This one gives me what I need, and it gives me great coverage. On top of that, it also gives me an ice resist and a fire resist. And so with my 4th pick overall, I picked Vaporeon, aka Narissa. Now, if you don't know what Narissa is a name from, if you've ever played the Telltale game The Wolf Among Us, there's a character in there called Narissa, and she's based off the Little Mermaid, which is the name of the Little Mermaid in that Storyteller book. I know a lot of people think it's Ariel, but it actually isn't. The original name of the Little Mermaid is Narissa. So, little knowledge lesson for you guys who didn't know that. But Vaporeon gives me everything I need. It gives me water immunity, and it gives me ice resistance and fire resistance, which I was already starting to think. I was already starting to have grow weaknesses too. But also, what it gives me is a Heal Beller and a Wish Passer, and this gives me another potential Baton Passer too. But I think we're only allowed to have one mon that actually has Baton Pass in a party or something like that. I'd have to check the rules on that. I don't know for certain. But Vaporeon gives me a Scold user. It gives me a weird kind of set, like it gives me a curse. You can curse, you can wish, you can yawn. It's got a really decent pool. It gives me access to Ice Beam. Yeah, Ice Beam. Ice Beam, Toxic, Scald. Not the most vast of move pools, but vast enough to where it can get the point across. And, it's good at what it does, which is taking damage and passing wishes, which is definitely something I wanted to make sure that it could do. I wanted to make sure that that I had another Wish Passer besides Latios. Now I can go Latios in this one with Wish Passings, and I can Wish Pass stuff around the board. And I like being able to heal my mons by, switching in or baton passing out, and being able to do that. And I felt Vaporeon was a great bulky water type that could fill the role of what I needed it to do. So, all right, with that, it comes back to us pretty quickly. And I wanted to get a fire type, as this one, as going in around 5, I noticed that I'm on that I actually kind of want to use, and I felt goes really well with Vaporeon. Is still on the board. Unfortunately, again, Absol76 took it. It wasn't really a snipe, as I wasn't really expecting it to be there by the time it got to me. It was kind of one of those things like, if it's there, I'm taking it, but if it's not. But he ended up taking it, which it was Arcanine. I wanted Arcanine. It was still on the board on round 5, and I felt it would have gone well with Vaporeon, but unfortunately it just didn't. So I decided to get a more powerful fire type. So with my 5th pick overall, I decided to get a little bit more power, and I decided to pick up Darmanitan, aka Rock Lee. I didn't sing Rock Lee because of the damn eyebrows. Those eyebrows remind me of Rock Lee. So what does Darmanitan do? Gives me a Turner. It's a wall breaker. It's 140 attack. The damn thing hits like a truck with a decent 95 speed too, and it's bulk, and it's pretty bulky in the HP stat. So what does this thing give me? It gives me a Sheer Force. That makes me with a Sheer Force user, and I love that. I love having a Sheer Force user because I can give this thing a Life Orb, and it can use things like Flare Blitz and Herp Derp Sherp Derp. You ain't getting burned, but you're going to take hella extra damage. Like, there's not much that switches into a Life Orb or Choice Banded Flare Blitz. There is not much that switches into that. Plus, the thing actually gives me Belly Drum. So what I could do is maybe Baton Pass a speed into it, use Belly Drum with a berry, or use Belly Drum with maybe a Figgy Berry or something, and then I can pretty much just like, what is it? I could Flare Blitz, take the recoil damage, Figgy Berry pops, and then I can go with something else like I don't know, something else. But basically, it would be a really cool set to run. It gives me decent stuff. It gives me a fire type that gets access to Earthquake, and it's 140 attack. This thing is nuts. It's nutso. It's so damaging. Plus, it actually gets access to Zen Headbutt, which was really cool. And I didn't actually know that until just now. But it also gives me a Turner, which was really nice because it gives me a semi-fast Turner that can do a lot of damage to something. So I'm actually really happy to be able to try and use Darmanitan. I've always wanted to try and use it, and I've never had a chance to, but this time I've got it on the team, and my team is looking pretty powerful. So I've got a lot of power, I've got a lot of wall breaking, and I'm actually really happy with that and how it's going. So with that, it goes to the next round. Now this is where I was kind of a little bit as we had to wait to 26 picks, I was talking with Absol because I was telling him just kind of, what I wanted to get. I was looking at a Mon, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I said, I'm going to get this Mon. But what I didn't tell him is that I was looking at another Mon, and I decided I was going to get another Mon first and then get this Mon I got now later. I was going to get this one in the next round after that, as I knew it was going to last that long. So my original plan was to finish out the Firewater Grass Core and get Chestnut. Chestnut gave me a Dark Deterrent. It gives me a very, very bulky grass type, and I was really kind of looking forward to really using Chestnut. I've had experience using Chestnut before, but problem was Absol made my pick for me, and I'm not knocking the guy. I did tell him I did want them on, so I didn't. It's not a full lie, but it's kind of a half truth lie. It's kind of one of those half things. Like, it's not untrue that I wanted them on and that I was gonna draft it. It's just kind of, I changed the order a little bit. I changed the order of priority on it. I didn't tell him I changed the order of priority. So I came back from, because I just started a new job, so I came back from work. Not came back from work. I went to lunch. And I came in and I found my pick was already made, and I was like, well, okay, well, he made my pick, but okay, this Mon should last until then. Unfortunately, Chestnut got snagged up on the wheel pick, and I was really kind of mad about it because I was like, Chestnut really would have added some great bulks to this team. It would have paired so well with Vaporeon, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? What's done is done. It's what's done is done. So unfortunately, I didn't get that, but he did make my pick for me, and I do appreciate Absol for making this pick because we finally got it. Yes, I know you guys were waiting for it. Here it is. We did get the Sand Setter. We got Tyranitar. So Tyranitar is great. 600 base, stat total, pseudo legendary that isn't a dragon. Gives me 4 times weakness to fighting, but I don't even care. This thing sets sand. It's 100 in special defense. It's 110 defense. It's 134 attack. This gives me wall breaking. As you guys know, it can be special. It can be anything. You know, it's bulky as hell. You mainly use it as a wall breaker. It's a trapper too, so you get access to you don't get access to Sucker Punch, but I know you get access to Pursuit. So this thing definitely is a great Pursuit trapper. But Stab Rock is nice, and so is Stab Dark. Dark is probably one of the best offensive typings in the game. So to be able to get really good stabs and to get a Mon that hits extremely hard, plus this gave me another Stealth Rock setter, which is nice, and his move pool is all over the damn board, which is what I love. I love how diverse this Tyranitar's move pool. Like, you look at it and I'm scrolling through his moves and I see Ice, and I see Steel, and I see Dark, and I see Ghost, and I see Fire, and I see Poison, and I see Fighting, and I'm like, dude, what? And I see Psychic too. I see Psychic in here, and Electric, and I'm like, dude, what kind of stuff does this thing get? It's ridiculous what this thing can get and what it can do. So, I mean, most of its weaknesses, it gets access to a coverage move for that. You know, it's weak to Earth, but yet it gets Earthquake. It's weak to Fighting, yet it gets Power Up Punch and Brick Break and Superpower. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's super ridiculous. It gets access to Ice and Avalanche, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this thing is ridiculous. But I really like it. I think Setting Sand is going to be its main function of what it does, but it's also one thing you don't sleep on because it's a Tyranitar. The damn thing is powerful. It's power. It's like I said, 600 base, pseudo legendary. It's up there with Jirachi. It's up there with, you know, any of the base 100s all around the board. So I'm happy to have Tyranitar. Like I said, I kind of wish I had Chestnut first because I could have gotten Tyranitar after the Chestnut pick, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to blame anybody for that. I did tell him that I did want Tyranitar. I just didn't tell him that I was going to change it up at the last second, but it is what it is. But I did tell him, after the Tyranitar pick was made was that, hey, I said, I left my picks with Absol again, and I said, hey, what I want you to do is I want you to get me Chestnut in the next round. Now, should Chestnut not be there, I want you to pick up another Mon for me. So this is the replacement Mon for Chestnut, because like I told you, after I made the Tyranitar pick, Chestnut got snagged up on the wheel pick, so I was not able to get access to it, which sucks. Like I said, I really wanted that really great grass type, as it would have played really well with Tyranitar and all, you know, the things that I had that were weak to Earth. It would have just eaten up all those Earthquakes. But it is not the way that it is, unfortunately. But I did get another great Mon that I have experience with, and I'm happy to have back. I picked up one of my favorite Mons from the NPL, and this is my replacement Mon for my Chestnut, as I picked up Miltank, Whitney the Miltank. It's a Miltank. You know what it does. It's got Milk Drink, it's a Rock Setter, it's a Heal Bell, it's a Defensive Wall, it's a Setup Sweeper. You know what it can do. It gets access to Curse. It's, you know, you can, you know, there's the Choppleberry set, there's the full defensive set, there's the, you know, it gets access to Thunderwave, and it's a great Mon, and I have experience using it, and I like using it. So this was my replacement for Chestnut, which also gives me an immunity to Grass and a resistance to Fire and Ice, which is nice because I now pick up another Fire resistance, another Ice resistance, pseudo Ice resistance. So it's always nice to pick up extra pseudo resistances in abilities there. So I'm happy to be able to get a chance to use it again, because I really liked what it added and what it did for the team in the MPL. It was a straight champ, taking all the hits that it could, doing the best thing that it could, and with Wish Passer this time, I should be able to, you know, like it and Vaporeon can work well together, as they both have reliable recoveries. I can Wish Pass something into this Miltank, and then Milk Drink, and they both get a Heal Bell, and they both cover each other for weakness, you know, for what it can do. So I'm happy to have Miltank back on the team, as I don't really need to say too much other than that, because it's Miltank. You kind of know what it does. So from there, we wait to 26 more picks again, and it comes back, and I'm like, okay, I want to get a grass type, and I'm kind of debating between what kind of grass type I want to get, because there aren't very many good ones left that aren't in the higher tiers, and at this point, I can't get in the higher tiers because I don't have enough points for that. So one of the biggest ones I was looking at was Virizion. I was like, okay, well, I can get an offensive type that gives me Fighting Stab, and Virizion would have definitely covered that, as it would have given me another 108 base speed attacking Mon, and it would have given me another Dark Deterrent, as Justify would have just made it even stronger. So I so I make but there was another one that was catching my eye that I felt would have worked better with Vaporeon. It does get access to reliable recovery. Now, another thing it gets access to is Leech Seed, and that was something I was really looking for when I picked out my grass type. So with my pick in the 8th round, my 8th round pick, I decided to pick up Gourgeist out of tier 5. So we picked Gourgeist, aka Blair. The name Blair comes from Soul Eater. I don't know why this thing reminds me of Soul Eater. It's the name of the cat, and her attacks are pumpkin. She uses like a pumpkin attack. So if you ever want to know, just search Soul Eater Blair, and you'll see the videos on YouTube. It's not hard to see, but she uses an attack that's like a pumpkin. She uses a pumpkin to attack. So I thought it was kind of a fitting name. So as you see the stats down below, you see there's an asterisk. These are the base stats for the average form of the Gourgeist there. Now that does change because of its sizes, and I get access to all of its sizes, so I don't have to be like, oh well, I just want the super size or the large size or the small size. So I can run a small size Gourgeist as an offensive mon. I always thought that was really kind of cool, as the small size actually has a nice 99 base speed, which is not bad. So the only things that don't change between the sizes are the defense, the special attack, and the special defense. The speed, the attack, and the HP all change. So the super size gets more HP, but the small size gets less HP and more speed, and a little less more attack, but the super size gets a little bit more attack. So I just felt it really worked well with the team, and that's why I wanted to draft it. And I've been wanting to use it because it also gets a really diverse kind of move pool, as it gets, it gets the stab ghost, it gets the stab grass, and also it gives me Shadow Sneak user. So this also gives me priority. So I can use priority. It gives me Destiny Bond. It gives me Magic Coat. So there will be no status conditions. So if they go for like the poison or something like that, I can use what is it called? Magic Coat. I can use Magic Coat and bounce it back. It also has reliable recovery and synthesis. It gets access to Foul Play, which is nice, which is what it would be weak to. Rock Slide. It actually gets Incinerate, Energy Ball. Flame Charge. I mean, it can access fire moves. Why not? Gets access to poison. Gets access to screens. I mean, it's always really nice to get a mon that has a very diverse move pool. So I'm happy to get a chance to use it, and I've actually been wanting to use it for a long time. I wanted to draft it in another league, but I wasn't able to do it because of other people got it. So with that. So with that, we go into another pick, and right around round 9, I'm like, okay, I kind of have the rest of my picks all picked out as what I want, and I knew what I wanted was a fast electric type. So I was like, okay, well, I'm looking on the board, I'm like, what's left? I'm like, well, I don't want to pick into the 2 lower tiers because I've already got a lot of stuff, and I'm like, Electros is already gone at this point. I'm like, okay, well, why don't I try to get something out of the tier 3? I still have enough points for that. And so I was looking at it, I was like, why don't I get Galvantula? Galvantula would be good. It gives me another bug stab. It gives me a fast electric type. It gives me sticky webs. I'm like, that would actually fit the team very nicely. Unfortunately, Galvantula got sniped. Big shocker there. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try and get Heracross if Galvantula gets sniped, because I was, making plans for this. Unfortunately, Heracross also got sniped. So I was like, okay, Heracross is gone, and so is Galvantula. Great. This is just great. So I'm looking around, and I'm like, you know what? I knew I was going to get this mon anyways. I was just going to wait another round to get it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just pick this one, and I'll have to make different plans, but let's just pick it just to pick it because I didn't want to keep people waiting. So with my next pick in the next round, I actually decided to pick up my fairy type. So I still picked one out of tier 3. So it actually had, there was a couple of them there. There was a Granbull, and I thought about Granbull, and I was like, no, I don't really want to use a Granbull. As good as it would be, I don't know how well. I don't think it just fits with this team. I don't think it fits very well with the team, though. Maybe to you guys it might, but I just felt it didn't fit as well as I think it should have. And then there was Aromatisse, and I was like, okay, well, I can get another Wish Passer. That wouldn't be bad, but I don't know when I would bring Aromatisse, and I don't like how passive it is, and all of this. So I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I want to get this one. One because it gives me another ice resistance, and it has the best typings in the game, which is Water Fairy. So my pick in the 9th round was my fairy type Primarina, aka Calliope. Calliope is one of the muses out of Greek mythology, not history, Greek mythology. So I was actually really interested in using this Primarina. I don't know why. Throughout the draft, I kept coming back and looking at it, and I was just like, I really kind of want to use it, but I don't know how it's going to fit onto the team. And then by this point, I was like, you know what, this would fit on the team, and I don't care if I double up on my grass type, my water type, as Water Fairy is such a great defensive typing, and it gets access to such a weird move pool, but it gives me another stab water user. It gives me a fairy type. It gives me some especially offensive power, which I was kind of lacking at this point. Other than Latios, and I think the highest special attack I had was Latios and Vaporeon, and then behind that was Tyranitar. So I was like, you know what, I think I need to get some more specially offensive power, and I definitely wanted to get some Primarina, because Primarina has a great special defense stat, decent bulk HP, 74 defense is workable. It's not very fast, but it's not supposed to be. But 126 special attack is huge, and this thing hits like a truck. I've seen the spec sets on this thing, and the spec sets hit ridiculously hard. Plus, I know that the Liquid Voice hidden ability is not out yet, which will be really cool because it does get access to Hyper Voice. It gets access to it by level up, so that would turn that into a water type, to a very strong water stab. But we don't have that yet. But I do like that what it has, things that it can do. It also gets access to Energy Ball, which is nice, and Psychic, which was kind of something I really wanted, because I didn't have too many users that could use Psychic or a Psychic type move, so I definitely wanted to get coverage for that. So I really like the set. I really like the set of what it can do and how it can work. So, like I said, Water Fairy is such a great defensive typing, so there's not much that it's weak to that it don't have full resistances for already. Excuse me. So I'm happy to be able to use Primarina. I've been dying to want to use it for a little while. So with that, it goes all the way 26 picks again. Now this pick, I was so on the fence for this next pick, because not because it's bad, but because I'm just so shocked that it lasted to the 10th round, to like third to last in the 10th round. This Mon usually goes somewhere in the 5th to 7th round, because somebody usually always wants it. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to plan for it. I don't want to have it against me, as it's such a great Mon against my team, and I basically drafted it because it was still there, and I didn't want to have it against me, as a lot of my team is weak to just this one Mon and what it can do. It's so versatile, and I've always wanted to use it, and I love how hard it hits, and I love its move pool, and I love the Mon itself. So with that, my 10th round, pick 158 out of, I think it's 100, and I think total there's 176 picks, and this one went at 158. So yeah, so really near the end of the draft, with my 10th round pick, we picked Nidoqueen. There are no words to describe why it lasted this long. I actually think if I didn't draft it, it would not have gone drafted. I don't think anybody would have drafted it had it not gone, and had I not drafted it, which would have shocked the hell out of me. It's just one of those things that would have shocked the absolute hell out of me. So, but I am super happy to have it. It's a sheer force user. It's a hazard setter, stealth rocks, toxic spikes. It's very bulk defensively, but it also has great attack. I love Nidoqueen. I really do. I love what Nidoqueen can do, as a Mon. And the amount of move pool this thing gets, it gets everything from Earth, Poison, Steel, Pursuit, Sucker Punch, Aqua Tail, Fire Punch, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Shadow Claw, Aerial Ace, Rock Tomb, even Dragon Tail. This thing gets so many coverage moves. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that nobody took this thing. And like I said, I'm really so shocked that nobody took this thing, because I mean at this point I was like, it's another ice weakness, and I mean, like, I have 1, 2, 3. I think I have like 3 or 4 mons that are weak to ice, and I'm like, I don't know if I could take another one, and I'm like, you know what, I don't even care. And it's another ground weakness, but I didn't even care, because I was like, okay, there's only like 2 types that resist grass, and that's that resist earth, and that is bug and grass. So I'm like, I'm not going to resist too much of it anyways, but I have the right defensive mons to be able to eat earthquakes and earth powers. So I'm like, you know what, I don't care, I'm picking it up. So I picked up Nidoqueen, aka Nami. I name all of my Nidoqueens Nami. It is based off the One Piece navigator Nami. She is queen of the pirates, and hence I always name my Nidokings Luffy, or Monkey D. Luffy. So my Nidokings are Luffy and my Nidoqueens are Nami, as I'm a huge fan of the Luffy X Nami ship that people do. I always think it's a great ship. So, but like I said, I'm still just so shocked that this thing made it to the 10th round without getting drafted. So, like I said, I don't think it would have gotten drafted had I not drafted it. So, yeah. So, as it is, it comes back to us real quick. And so, with this last pick, I was just like, you know what? I gotta pick something that's out of tier 5. I don't know what else to pick. So I kind of picked this Mon, but I'm kind of thinking I should have picked Stoutland, as Stoutland would have been another sand user, a sand abuser. It would have been a really good sand abuser, but I was already having a lot of fighting weakness, and I didn't want to build another fighting weakness. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, let's get this Mon, because I actually want to use this one, and I need something that's pretty quick. I've got a lot of stuff in the mid 80s to 90s tier, so I need to pick something that's a little bit over 100. So with that, I just decided I'm going to pick up Mismagius. It's a Levitate Mon. It gives me a ghost type, so its nickname is going to be Lulu, as it's my favorite Final Fantasy Black Mage. So I thought about Vivi, but since this is going to be a female version, my favorite female Black Mage is Lulu. But it's a wall breaker, another heal beller, a setup sweeper, as this thing with Nasty Plot is nothing to be trifled with. Most people know, if they've seen it get a Nasty Plot or 2 up, they know it's nothing to be trifled with. Gets a decent move pool, Thunderbolt. I wish it got Ice Beam. Ice Beam would have been great coverage too, as it would have had all of that. It even gets fire coverage in Mystical Fire, which is nice, and Power Gem too. So, my bad. As it actually does have a very decent move pool. Also gives me access to Memento as well, which could be a fun little thing to do. It's like, oh hey, I'm gonna Memento your Mon, and I'll sacrifice Mismagius, but now I have the complete and upper hand, as I will now be able to set up and do whatever I need to do without worrying about being 1 or 2 shot or even 4 shotted at that point. So I'm happy to have it. I'm actually really happy to be able to use it, because I've always wanted to use the Mismagius in League, and I've never actually got a chance to. So this gives me another great special attacker, which I didn't really have too horribly many of. I know Nidoqueen can be a special attacker, and that was kind of another reason why I picked it up, as it has a great mixed set of what you can do. You can do mixed or physical, so I can kind of bring it along. But I have a lot of great physical power, so I might use it more as a specially offensive Mon, just to add the pressure, especially offensively. So with that is the team. So as you guys can see on the board, we have all of the team. Now, for the next section here, you're going to see who our Z captains are. So after the draft, we had to choose the 2 Mons to be our Z captains. So it's not hard to decide. It was not very hard to decide who one of my Z captains was going to be. So as it is, one of my Z captains was very, very easy. It's a great Mon. It's always a great Mon to be a Z captain. No, the second one I was kind of iffy, and I was up in the air about it. I was like, okay, well, it could be Scolipede, it could be Nidoqueen, it could be Latias, and I'm like, Latios, I don't think there's so many better items for a Latios to hold than a Z Crystal. So I kind of eliminated that one, and I was like, Nidoqueen should always be holding a Life Orb. So as it is, you know, it should be holding a Life Orb or something else, as it's it's much better used like that than holding a Z Crystal. I thought about Mismagius, but I was like, Mismagius doesn't really have the coverage moves for it, and I don't think holding a Z Crystal would be that great for it. So with that, my 2 Z Captains are going to be Tyranitar and Scolipede. I gotta thank Bill for this one, because I was kind of up in the air about Scolipede, but he told me Scolipede would be really good, and I was actually kind of debating between Excadrill and Scolipede, and so he gave me a little advice, and he told me, you know what, use Scolipede, because Scolipede's got a great moveset too. And I was like, you know what, and then I remembered getting absolutely bodied by a Waterium Z Aquatail Scolipede. Yeah, so that was fun. But Tyranitar and Scolipede are going to be my Z Captains, so they're going to be the only ones that are able to hold Z Crystals. Like I said, I knew Tyranitar was going to be one of my Z Captains immediately. So with that is the team. There you go. Your IPBL Season 1 San Diego Wind Padres, as we have Latios, Excadrill, Scolipede, Vaporeon, Darmanitan, Tyranitar, Miltank, Gourgeist, Primarina, Nidoqueen, and Mismagius. So I'm excited about the team. I think it's a good team. I think there's a lot of power there, and I'm really hoping to be able to get creative with some of the sets here in this league, and hopefully take the league by storm, as I always want to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe as always. Let me know down in the comment section down below what Mon you think is the best pick, and what Mon you like the most, and if you like the team or if you don't like the team. I always like to hear constructive criticism. So I will see you guys in our next episode, as we will have a few weeks before uploads go up. So more ICBA content is going to be coming out, as by the time we start the IPBL here, ICBA should be around week 7, maybe. I don't know for certain. Probably around week 6 to 8, somewhere around in there. I'm assuming week 7 is probably what I'm thinking, but I'm actually really excited about this one. And I'm excited to use this team, as I really want to get creative with it. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe as always. And I will see you guys in our next video, when hopefully we will show off our San Diego Wind Padres in our Week 1 battle, which is going to be... Who is our Week 1 opponent? Our Week 1 opponent is going to be the Manchester Mareeps. And their coach is Fitzblitz. So Fitzblitz is his coach, is their coach. So the Manchester Mareep, and they actually have a very good team. They have a very good team with the Mamoswine, a Feeny, a Raikou, Zyger 10%, Ornata, Heracross. Oh, there's the Heracross guy. There's the guy who took Heracross from me. Plus, he's got Metagross and Golbat, so he's got a decent team. I'm interested to get to work on this thing. So I hope I will see you guys in the future, and I will see you in our Week 1 battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see y'all later. All right, bye.